with me, we have Brian Bonner and Mac Jackson, and holy shit, we're going to talk about Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is obviously huge news. There have been rumors about it for months now, at least a couple months, since the leaked Sony emails. But it was never confirmed, and then it actually kind of looked like it was off the table because of the leaked emails, and then you didn't hear about it for a little bit. But today, at whatever today is, February 10th, it was officially confirmed, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. The point is, it is confirmed that Spider-Man will now appear in the Avengers-type movies, basically. So the biggest question is, what do they do with them, and how do they do it? Because they're far enough along now that we haven't heard about any other heroes, but they are bringing in new ones. So what do you guys think they're going to do with Spider-Man? If you want to go first, Brian, take it away.
Well, first off, I like the idea. I think it definitely opens up the door for more stories, for just a lot of things that they can do. Personally, Spider-Man's easily in like my top 5 favorite superheroes of all time. I hate the fact that Andrew Garfield's not doing it. Yeah. I'm getting sick and tired of guys getting, they keep changing all the time. Just stick with one actor. I understand some things happen and you have to change, but I personally think both of them did a great job. I think Maguire did a great job. He has his, he did good things. I think Garfield did a great job. I think they should stick with Garfield, but they're not. So, I mean, I kind of have to live with that.
Yeah, there's not much you can do.
I think because of Spider-Man being rebooted so many times and everybody knows the backstories of him, I mean, honestly, he's just going to, like, pop in. They're just going to throw him in. I think isn't it's supposed to be rumored in the one Captain America movie coming up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Civil War.
Civil War. And I think specifically how they're going to do it, not really 100% sure, but I don't know. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
That they're finally, they can, like I said before, they can do more stuff.
Yeah. I think most people are assuming that he's going to show up first in Civil War, but wouldn't it be something if they're able to in the next couple months if they didn't already plan for this like possibility to throw him at the end of the Avengers, maybe something like that. Now, I mean, unless they have someone cast on the sly, it's unlikely that they'll do like Spider-Man walks in and says something or anything like that, but like swinging by or just something. It wouldn't surprise me if, because the way digital editing works and things like that, if they've had people working on throwing the Daily Bugle in places, like just the mock-up of it, and then in the Avengers they throw the Bugle in there because they're going to be in New York, or just something to hint at the Spider-Man universe now being allowed as to be referenced at the very least. I agree with you on Andrew Garfield, but I don't want to talk too much yet because we're going to let Mac go with his ideas first.
I am thrilled to death. Anybody who's ever listened to an episode of the Never Gets Old podcast, Nick and I have talked about this since there were the beginning of Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. How it's common sense. I mean, he's the cornerstone of the Marvel universe. Everybody knows Spider-Man. When you think Marvel, you think Spider-Man. So for years we've wanted this. And we're like, why wouldn't you do whatever you had to do? Go to Sony. Come to an agreement. Make it happen. The fact that Sony, I don't know, is rumored to be in financial trouble, whatever. Sign up with Marvel, which they did. Thank God. I love I love that this is. I haven't even completely fathomed that this isn't real now. I'm so pumped. Yeah. As far as how they can do it, I agree. I think they will start to give us little teases. They'll have him swing by in the background of one of the scenes in the next Avengers movie. But I think what they said was his first real appearance of that matters will be Civil War. And Nick and I have discussed this previously, where we said, everybody thinks like, well, Civil War, wasn't that when Spider-Man took off his mask? Mm-hmm. It's not. That really wasn't. That was like the part that made it to the USA Today. That wasn't really what his point of being in that story was. He's the middleman who is kind of the conscience between the two. He sides with Iron Man, and Iron Man has a lot of good points. It's not a black and white issue. And then towards the end, oh, wait a minute, Captain America's right. So he's pulled between the two. I was afraid, my only fear of the next Captain America movie would have been, man, Civil War is a great story. If they don't have Spider-Man in it, it's going to lack that heart. And Spider-Man was the heart of that story. So now to have him in it, skip the taking off his mask part. I don't think they're going to do that because who cares? I think they're going to use him the way that he was used in the story. As far as Andrew Garfield being let go, yeah, that sucks. I love it. I thought he did an excellent job. I thought he blew Maguire out of the water. Not that I had a problem with Tobey Maguire until I saw Andrew Garfield. Once I saw Andrew Garfield, I went, okay, this feels natural. This feels right. And now today I find out, he's 31 years old now. So I think Marvel is smart to go, let's hire a teenager to play a teenager. There's a lot of talented kids out there that can do it. Mm-hmm. And two, you don't have to worry about your lead actor getting old and not looking the part.
Yeah.
So it's smart all the way around, I have no complaints whatsoever about this decision.
The thing about Civil War is, in the comics it makes sense, and I think we talked about it on the podcast, or we talked about it at some point. But the reason it works in Civil War is because Spider-Man is such a large part of that universe for a lot longer, and while I'm sure they'll use him well in the movie, I don't know if they can use him the same way, because and maybe they could, because they said that when Spidey, again, this is all just rumor stuff, but from what I read, when he comes into this universe, he's going to already be Spider-Man. And that's it. Like, there's not going to do an origin movie. They're not going to do anything. It's just, it, get over it. And I've said that for Spider-Man. I've said it for, Batman. Like, those characters, they don't need origin movies ever again. We know who they are. And hopefully going forward, we won't need that. But even so, narratively, I just don't know if it'll have the power it needs to have for him to be as important a character as he was in the comics. And what I mean by that is I think he'll probably be there, but it's not going to be like the Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man show. It's still probably going to be like mostly Captain America with some Iron Man, and then like Spider-Man and Falcon and a lot of these other, I'm assuming a bunch of heroes will probably be there, and it'll be like Tony goes to Cap and says, hey, we got to find all these heroes and make them join S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. And Captain America goes, no, I'm absolutely not doing that. That's exactly like what I just saw, I forget what Robert Redford, whatever his name was in Winter Soldier. I just saw him trying to do something similar to that, like no privacy, no sort of like, I lost the word that I was going for, but you know what I mean, like that. That's probably what it's gonna be like, and Spider-Man will be there, but I mean, it's gonna be hard for him not to be a main character, but it's just, it's not gonna be like a triple threat movie now. I don't think. I could be completely wrong, but I just don't foresee it being that. I mean,
I don't see that.
I have faith.
I honestly don't see it either, just for the reason because you have dozens. I won't say dozens. We'll say a dozen superheroes that you're trying to have all on screen within 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah. So there's only so much you can do. You're trying to tell a good story without focusing. And again, I love Spider-Man, and I agree with you, Mac. I mean, he's the conscience. He's the backbone. He's what anchors Marvel down, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And you can't, as much as I would love to see it, you can't have a lot of Spider-Man in the next big Marvel movie. It has to be spread out. You can't just focus all on one guy.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, come on, this is Marvel and Disney together, so I don't claim to know what they're going to do, but I trust them 100%. They're gonna seed him in. It's not going to be first appearance in Cap. I think they're going to, like you said, the bonus scene at the end of Avengers, or have him swing by, or whatever.
Even Ant-Man.
I'm excited. Yeah, why not? As long as and that's the thing. They don't even have to have the actor picked out yet. They can have him in costume climbing a wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
I don't disagree that he is important. I mean, this news today is like earth-shattering. But it's just like they have anchored the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man. Sorry for the interruptions. The cinematic universe is anchored around Iron Man. So Spider-Man jumping in, it creates a different story, basically. Not to say like Spider-Man was the first Marvel superhero or anything like that, far from it. But it's just that there's so much longer of a span of time that he's just more relevant in the comics continuity than here. So, Jesus, I'm so sorry. I lost my train of thought because of what's going on. But what was I going to say? I don't know. You guys say something. I'll gather my thoughts back and jump back in.
I don't know if you heard, but I mean, not that this is a completely different story, but Hugh Jackman has always been campaigning to have them combine. And today he came up because I said, "Did you hear the news?" He's like, "Yes, I did," and it gives me hope because I'm hoping that now Fox will, make a deal with Marvel. And why not? I mean, it's Disney. For the love of God, you sign up to Disney.
Well, from what I read,
if this happens, I believe anything can happen.
Yeah, from what I read, the whole ordeal is it's kind of a good faith deal. It's not even money changing hands. It's not even, we get a percentage of this and you get a percentage of that. And that was what everybody was thinking. Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just sign a contract and say Spider-Man appears in the Marvel movie or whatever? Sony gets so much money, and then vice versa, not even Sony could still make the Spider-Man movies and whatever. But from what I read, that's off the table, and it's a deal based on mutual, for the greater good of both companies or whatever. They're looking at it as, if Spider-Man's in these movies, it legitimizes the Sony movies that they're going to make in the same universe, and they're all collected in that. yeah, that's cool. Why not do that? It doesn't, it seems silly to have animosity between companies that share, and I know this is like a weird thing that's never even happened before in history, like multiple film companies owning characters from a shared universe or something like that. So it's hard to say. I guess it's easier to say why can't you just do it than to get people to sit down and do it. But
I think it comes down to ego, greed, money, because ultimately to them it's just a character in a story.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some that really care and some that don't, but ultimately that's what it boils down to. Yeah. And the egos get in the way, and they get greed, money. That's really what it is.
I don't doubt for a second that the people that make the films, especially like with Mark Webb, with Sam Raimi, and I know Andrew Garfield was a huge Spider-Man fan. Like, those people who are in charge of crafting the stories, making the films themselves, care about the character and the story, because it means something to them, and they know it means something to a much bigger audience of people, which is undeniable. I mean, you could say, like, whatever, Spider-Man's a silly superhero character, but it's more than that now. I mean, even to people who haven't read comics in years, you know, like, if they loved Spider-Man, or insert any character into this statement, but if they loved whatever character as a child, and then even saw some of the movies or whatever, you know that they still have that in them. Like, it means something to them. If it didn't, then the movies wouldn't make that much money. And I think you're right on the ego and the greed part, because rebooting Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and whatever in the first place was Sony, you know, throwing the gauntlet down and being like, yeah, we're going to do just as good. And the first one was okay. I've said this before if you've listened to our podcast or whatever else. First one was good. The best part about it was Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry. The second one, I think, is complete garbage, aside from Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone and that part. And then anything with Andrew Garfield in the suit is good, but most of that movie, about probably like 50% is being gracious, is like complete garbage, in my opinion. And that's unfortunate because, again, from what I've heard, the studio had all these mandates and tinkered with it, and like all of the ideas that were good that they wanted to do were just like tossed aside for who knows what reason. But the movie came out bad, and that's why they're in this situation here.
Yes, that's a good thing.
It is. I mean, it's a good thing for us, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, I am excited. I'm just really excited. I knew, like, this topic wasn't going to be a disagreement topic, like, oh, this is the worst idea ever for anybody to, like, even if, I don't know who would say it was the worst idea ever. I don't want to know that person, but at least just the differences in what could be done is interesting to talk about. Another thing I heard is, what if they don't do Peter Parker? What if they do Miles Morales? Because Peter Parker's been done to death. It would be something different. And that stuck out to me. I was like, that would be, it certainly would be interesting. And if they did it, it would kind of lean towards the Marvel Cinematic Universe's tendency to use ultimate storylines, like the ultimate branch of comics storylines. So that would be interesting. I wouldn't be against it so long as it was done well and the actor that they picked fit the character, even though I haven't read too much with him in it, but I liked what I have read. So what do you guys think about the possibility that they go with Miles Morales?
I'm not really. I think I don't think now's the time for them to do it. I mean, I think it's always an option down the road. It's the same thing like having, when Chris Evans leaves Captain America, well, then you could have Winter Soldier be Captain America, Bucky.
Right.
But in order to have that mean anything, you need to start off with the main, especially if you want to get people in the door. They're not going to go for the controversial, what the heck is this guy? We want our blue and red Spidey. Especially if it's now official in the Marvel Universe, I don't see them jumping to what's new and hip.
Yeah.
I think that'll be later if they want/need to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say they get the teenage kid who's going to be Peter Parker. Okay? Sticks around for a few years. Okay? Now, he decides after 3-4 movies or whatever, if he's foolish enough to leave, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm out of here. Then they can go, what's a good idea, which would be a twist. Instead of just recasting Peter Parker, let's have this Miles Morales. Now that would mean something, I think. I think if they did it now, they'd be going, look at, we're full of diversity.
Yeah.
Man.
That's, my only hang-up before I let Brian talk, my only hang-up with it was the whole idea that it's been such a long time coming that people have been clamoring for Peter Parker Spider-Man to be a part of this for the exact reason of wanting the character interactions. That it would be like an almost sort of thing, like we almost did it. And like I said, or like you said rather, down the road, when they need to switch stuff up or whatever, an actor leaves, gets too old or whatever, I would love to see Miles Morales on screen, and I wholeheartedly think they should do it. But because I think so many people are like, this is crazy, we gotta get Peter Parker, that they should probably just do that right off the bat. So go ahead, Brian.
No, and I was just gonna. You both pretty much made a good point, and what I was thinking, where I wouldn't be against Miles in the movie. Would I personally do it? No. Right. Again, if it's done well, if it's done properly, it can be a good movie. But you have to remember, the majority of people seeing these movies aren't really hardcore comic fans.
Right.
So they're not going to know some of these obscure people. They think in their mind, Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, blue and red, and Peter Parker, and some of them might know, like, Aunt May and all that stuff. Your typical person, they're not going to know who the heck Miles Morales is. Yeah. They're not going to recognize the colors. They're not going to recognize anything. So I think at the beginning, they're going to stick with what works, what people know.
Yeah.
And as you guys said before, a couple movies down the road, you can introduce him. Along those lines, but like right in the beginning, I wouldn't do it, and I honestly don't see it happening.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next standalone Spider-Man film, if they didn't do like a little like a cameo, not that they'd cast the kid for Miles or anything, but just like have him with his parents as like a small child that could obviously be completely recast, and they're like, did you see Spider-Man Miles or something like that? Like it would be because Marvel would be helping, they'd be like, you should really do this. Doesn't even really mean necessarily anything, but just put it there. We know what we're talking about. So I don't know. I'm just super excited. I don't know if you guys have any more to talk about on this subject, but I don't know what else to say with the very little info that we have. I'm sure once we hear more, we'll be able to discuss more, obviously, but I think everybody brought up some pretty good points. But if you guys have anything else to talk about, feel free.
Just this is a major step in the right direction. With the companies talking about greed and being selfish, this is positive direction away from that.
Okay.
So it's a day of rejoicing.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be awesome. They're going to do a great job with it. Well, I hope they're going to do a great job with it, and it has endless possibilities. Honestly, like it can go for. You're going to see a lot of movies.
All right, well, that's it for today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the website and, all that good stuff. Till next time.